We got a lot of intrigue around our last episode with the Vogue article, Is It Embarrassing to Have a Boyfriend? And I was scrolling on TikTok, and one of our favorite creators, we love him, shout out to Jack Mack from Barstool.
We love you, Jack Mack.
Yeah, he's the cutest. We just love him. But he put out this TikTok that I thought was really interesting, where he was kind of going off of this.
New it thing is to not have a boyfriend. More and more posts have gone viral. British Vogue even wrote, "Is having a boyfriend embarrassing now?" It was all really kicked off by a New York City podcast, the Delusional Diaries podcast with Holly and Jazz.
I saw this girl make a video and she was like, isn't it kind of funny? Like, I feel like having a boyfriend now is like lame and like shameful. And she
The clip went mega viral, and a lot of people are in the comments agreeing with them. Julia Fox said, "It like is, LOL." Mommy Milker said, "Dating is a humiliation ritual for a lot of women. Maybe I'm too woke, but wifey material sounds like an insult. Being able to live alone and unpartnered is unquestionably a flex today." Well, the stats kind of back this up. According to the U.S. General Social Survey, less and less people are in steady relationships. Not in a steady relationship. Under 40% for 18 to 34-year-olds in 2000, and now it is getting close to 60%. 18 to 34-year-olds are not living with a partner more and more and more. There's also a political aspect to this. As we saw, the top comment on this post was, "It's very Republican to have a boyfriend." Just been on a date with a man for the first time in ages, and I fear I've become too woke to date men anymore. Across the world, women and men are getting further and further apart in terms of politics. This isn't just in the United States, it's in Germany, the United Kingdom, South Korea. Now we're having the discussion, is having a boyfriend embarrassing? Is it Republican? This feels not great. That's my biggest takeaway here. And it's not just women saying stuff like this. Obviously, you've seen the billions of podcast clips of men saying, oh, women are not dateable anymore. They're not wifeable. So they're saying this in a different way. If none of us end up together, then what happens? I guess both sides could do better, but it's not like they're like people be like, men got to do this, women got to do this. There's not like a meeting where it's like we have like a coach that tells us what to do. We got to hit these certain like that doesn't exist. If more and more people are spending more and more time alone, as we're seeing, who wins? Spending culture, massive corporations. And it seems like when I see those stats, I see these things, we're inching closer and closer and closer and closer to that.
Yeah, we're just seeing like a huge cultural dating gap with men and women. Obviously, we saw this in the presidential election. Gen Z men overwhelmingly voted for President Trump, and also we're seeing them go back to church in droves as well. And we've actually seen where women, I mean, of course, with the Mamdani race, but also for Kamala Harris, overwhelmingly support leftists' progressive ideology. And so I think that actually obviously has a trickle-down effect into dating.
I really blame feminism for the state of our dating culture right now, and let me explain. After second wave feminism, we saw a lot of these traditional gender norms break down where women did not want to be treated in that way, and instead they wanted to be treated more like men. Then you get into hookup culture, where it's like there's none of this courting thing instead and men chasing after you and that you're a prize to win. Instead, you're just like a man, you behave like a man, you go out, sleep with a man. It's that transactional casual sex that we've talked about so much in this podcast already. And then you go about your ways. And this has destroyed dating culture in every way because one, no one knows where they stand with each other. There's no roles that you fall into because it's all up in the air. Chivalry is dead because that apparently is, patriarchal to behave in chivalrous ways. So I think men have kind of abandoned chivalry. In turn, these women, I think, are just left so empty because they're going around hooking up. There's all these situationships where who knows where you stand. A lot of women, I think, feel pressure to have sex now with men because of this feminist movement that men now expect that. And then they do. And it's like you're damned if you don't and you damned if you do because a lot of men now expect you to have sex with them on the first date. And so a lot of women then will fall into that. And then they're no longer interested in you because biology says, oh, this woman's, easier to get. And now I want someone that's not a wife that I want. And so it's just thrown these dating standards and this dating culture up into the air. And there's just, I feel really thank God you and I are married because I feel a lot of people make jokes about this. Like getting married in the 2020s is like getting on the last chopper in Nam and flying away because it's a disaster. Everyone I talk to, it's like, I just don't think there's it's going to be a difficult thing to fix. And I blame feminism. And these men have abandoned all of the chivalry and all this stuff because they just see a bunch of these feminist women and are like, well, why am I going to be traditional if women aren't being traditional? So it's just been a complete collapse and breakdown. And everyone's unhappy because of it.
I just think that we've seen the other side really blur the gender lines a lot. And so we're seeing the effects of that now. I go online, I see photos of women on their hands and knees proposing to a man now. They're embracing paying 50-50, and it's like you're not even incentivizing these men to treat you properly. And one of my favorite videos is a Christian Walker video where he's like, men used to have to show up to your dad's house with a bunch of goats, with lambs, with horses, with land, and properly ask her father to marry them and to argue their case. And now we have men who aren't even offering to provide. They're not even offering to pursue you in the way that you deserve. And so we're obviously seeing the breakdown of this where people don't want to have boyfriends or girlfriends because there's just such a divided culture in that regard. But I mean, in the effects of this, porn, we've seen porn, anxiety, depression rates at an all-time high, men and women butting heads, not even ideologically, but obviously like with dating and with intimacy. And I do believe that feminism has a large part in this.
I think feminism is the complete collapse because I think men reacted once feminists came out and were like, well, we want to be treated like men. And men were like, okay. Like, I think that has been the backlash from that. And I find it really funny when these feminists, I see sometimes TikToks like this where feminists are like angry that a man's is asking them to pay 50-50 on a date. And like, I'm totally against that culture. I think a man should pay for a date. But if you are a feminist, then yeah, that's the culture you created. That I guess then he shouldn't be opening up doors for you because you're nothing special. If that's what it used to be. Women were special. We were different than men. And now they're like, we want just complete equality with everything. And I believe in equality under the law, but I do believe men and women are so intrinsically different that there actually isn't an equality there. It's like comparing apples to oranges. It's not equal. It's just different than each other. And women have destroyed that with feminism. And so we've been left with this collateral damage of situationship culture, a culture where I don't think men really respect women a lot that we're seeing now. And I think this has led to like a lot of bad traits in men as well, because women were supposed to guide the relationship in a positive direction. And, a lot of people say, why buy the cow if you're getting the milk for free? And that's the casual sex culture that we live in nowadays, that a lot of these women are just giving men exactly what they desire. I always joke, I'm like, feminists think they're beating the patriarchy by just giving men a bunch of casual sex with no commitment, and then they don't have to buy you dinner or buy you anything or commit to you in any way. Like, I don't know how this defeats the patriarchy. This is probably exactly what like the average man wants. And because if women start embracing these traditional roles, then we can also expect men to embrace these traditional roles. It's so hypocritical because a lot of women want men to be traditionally masculine, provide for the family, be that chivalrous. But if you're going to expect that from men, you need to also expect that from women as well.
I almost wonder too if a lot of this is due to not having strong father figures in the home. And this goes for both boys and girls, because you would want a strong father figure in the home to teach these boys how to become men and to not even falter from that, regardless of the culture that's going on with women, and to treat their daughters like the princesses they are and treat them with such kindness and nurturing them, showing up for them when it matters most. And so I wonder if this is kind of the fallout from that as well. I mean, I obviously think women have a large part in this, obviously, because of third wave feminism and how detrimental it is to our mental health, physical health, reproductive systems in the end, putting off children, putting off some of the most amazing parts of your life. And then you're going to wake up, you're going to blink, and it's too late. And so I almost wonder, though, I mean, what would you say about the father aspect of that?
I think that's so important, that it's really the breakdown of the family. And you're seeing this with higher divorce rates that a lot of our generation grew up in, and you don't have maybe parental figures that are in the household raising a traditional family, and it's generational. That when you break down the family, it cascades through generations. And I agree with you. I think if you have a strong father in the household with both men and both women, it's really important when you're growing up as kids to see that strong male figure that's treating his daughter as a princess that she deserves, and then she's going to go out and find a man similar. And it's also teaching the boy in the household how to be a real man. And I think that's really important.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see new shows every single Wednesday.